news that's just coming in seems to suggest that Prime Minister Modi will be speaking to President Putin on the phone this afternoon. Now, this becomes extremely crucial as there have been calls that have been made from Ukraine urging that Prime Minister Modi actually begin a mediation with President Putin. We have seen two countries. One, of course, is Israel, which has been trying to talk to President Putin over this. And now, of course, we've also seen the foreign minister of Ukraine essentially urge the Indian Prime Minister to step in and use his good offices to speak to President Putin. What we are now looking at perhaps is an intervention that might now happen from the Indian side. There has been a lot of talk of how India, which has a good relationship with Russia, can perhaps intervene and speak to President Putin. Do remember that President Putin has had a very good relationship with Prime Minister Modi over several years that President Putin has now been in power in Russia. The Prime Minister also is someone whom we understand that the President of Russia respects greatly. And so what we are now seeing perhaps is some sort of an intervention that is being sought right now. Now, do remember that this comes at the back of the fact that there have been calls that have been made to neutral countries in this conflict. There have been calls that have been made to Israel. We've seen Naftali Bennett actually travel all the way to Moscow to have those negotiations with President Putin. We've also seen other neutral nations essentially trying to mediate and find a way out of this conflict, which we now see expanding in Europe. There have been several calls that have also been made from the Ukrainian side, specifically with the foreign minister of Ukraine actually urging Prime Minister Modi to take up talks with President Putin. Now, what we see right now, of course, are attempts that are being made by all sides to perhaps peter down this conflict, which one did not expect to carry on for so long. Prime Minister Modi, of course, does have a very good relationship with President Putin. Do remember that India and Russia have had a very good relationship over the past several decades. Also, India has adopted a very non-partisan approach as far as this conflict is concerned. There have been two resolutions against Russia at the UN, and both of which we've abstained from. And this is the relationship that we have with Russia that is now being called upon by various world powers for New Delhi to actually take a mediating role. Now, confirmation coming in that the Prime Minister is likely to speak this afternoon on the phone to President Putin. Now, our previous conversations that Prime Minister Modi has had with both sides, one of them, of course, was with President Zelensky of Ukraine, and the other was with President Putin, have essentially focused on the evacuation of our people who were stranded. Now, that evacuation operation is almost over. We've got about some students left in Sumy right now. But apart from that, a large number of our students who were stuck in the war-torn country have been pulled out with extensive evacuation processes that have been ongoing for about a week now. Now the focus, of course, is going to shift on how India can look at intervening perhaps and finding a solution out of this. Just to give you a roundup of what all is happening currently, the round 3 of talks between Ukraine and Russia are scheduled for today. They take place in Belarus. Apart from that, there is a Turkey dialogue that is being spearheaded, of course, by Turkey, to which we still don't have a confirmation coming in from Ukraine, whether that's going to happen or not. But this piece of news that's coming in is extremely crucial because right now India has been looked upon to perhaps sit on the negotiating table, to talk to various people on various sides of the table to find a solution to this. Niranjan Narayanswamy also joins me right now on the phone line. Niranjan, good morning. Give us more details of what we are learning in terms of what the involvement of Prime Minister Modi is going to be. Of course, he does have a great relationship with President Putin.
Well, absolutely, and I think it's also significant in the wake of all the parleys that have been happening on the phone. It's sort of the war hotline has been activated. For last few days, you've had the French president speak to Macron. You've had the Israel Prime Minister try and play a key role in speaking to Putin first, meeting him in Moscow, and then talking to Zelensky over the phone. And now with world leaders, in fact, even Turkey. Erdogan tried to Turkey tried to host both these leaders, or the countries of both these, the leaders of both these countries, not the topmost leaders, but at least the foreign minister level. They tried to hold a meeting at a diplomacy forum for which Russia has confirmed and Ukraine hasn't. So I think several countries are trying to play a role to ensure that this does not escalate further. And in the wake of all these developments, and we know the kind of relationship that the Prime Minister shares with Putin, especially. He's had 2 conversations already on the phone, and this will be the 3rd. And he's spoken to Zelensky, and I think it becomes significant because he's spoken to Zelensky first, and then he will speak to Putin. Hopefully, the way this war has unfolded, hopefully there should be some sort of, good news. But on the ground, not much has changed. We've been witness to it. We've been getting videos. Airports continue to be bombed. Military installations continue to be targeted. So there is no de-escalation on the ground, but I think world leaders are trying to do their best to bring this under control at some point.
All right, Niranjan, thank you for bringing us those details. So that's the latest we have right now. We are given to understand that the Prime Minister Modi will be speaking to first the Ukrainian President Zelensky, and thereafter he will also have another telephonic call with President Putin of Russia.